I had said that if they try to make the Charlie Kirk so-called assassin trial secretive, then you know for sure the official story is not true. This is bad. This is real bad. Even mainstream media is calling this one of the most secretive trials in history. The judge is making everything secret.
Okay, things are getting real wild right now. Word spreading fast says Dave Chappelle just dropped a straight-up bomb, claiming the FBI arrested Candace Owens for digging too deep into the Charlie Kirk shooting case. Can you believe that? According to Chappelle, the same court that's been handling the Kirk trial issued a gag order to keep certain details under wraps, but Candace reportedly went and broke it wide open. And now, he says, the feds swooped in, locking her up for supposedly interfering with an ongoing investigation. But hold on, it gets even crazier. For over a week, Candace has been totally off the grid, missing from her show, and fans are losing it trying to figure out where she went. People online are starting to piece it together, saying this might be a full-blown power play to shut her down, especially after she started calling out the FBI for allegedly hiding key info about what really went down with Charlie Kirk. And let's be real, Candace hasn't exactly been quiet about her suspicions. She's been loud, fearless, and straight up saying things that some very powerful people probably didn't want public. So now the question is the FBI really trying to silence her, or is there something darker, more twisted happening behind closed doors? Because ever since Charlie Kirk's assassination, Candace Owens has been on a mission, connecting dots, pulling receipts, and exposing things that had everyone's jaw on the floor.
And if you look at these trans terrorists, it's really important to sort of get to the bottom of it, excavate exactly what happened. So there was some reports after Charlie Kirk's assassination that there was prior knowledge of what was going to happen, that there were people in chats talking about, hey, something really big is going to happen. Not just big happen, it's going to happen to Charlie Kirk tomorrow. Conspiracy, at least prior knowledge. People who knew that he was going to be shot.
She's been warning that there's way more to this story than what we've been told. And the deeper she digs, the more explosive it all gets. Candace didn't hold back. She went all in against the FBI, Turning Point America, and even hinted at ties to a foreign intelligence network. Just hours after the shooting, when the FBI announced they had their so-called primary suspect, Tyler Robinson, allegedly turned in by his own family after seeing his face plastered all over national TV. Candace came out swinging, and let's just say, she made the FBI look like total amateurs. Her breakdown of the case shook social media. Candace tore apart their official report, pointing out massive gaps that made no sense. First off, she blasted the FBI for releasing what looked like dull, grainy pictures and low-quality ring cam videos of the supposed shooter, even though Utah Valley University, where the shooting happened, is covered with over 1,200 high-end CCTV cameras upgraded with state-of-the-art tech just last year. She basically said, "You expect us to believe this is the best footage you've got?" Then she doubled down, accusing them of trying to frame Tyler Robinson to close the case fast on her social media. She called it a deliberate setup, saying the narrative around his so-called confession was totally fake. Candace even wrote that the story of his father turning him in was complete fiction, adding that none of it lined up with the timeline or the witnesses. She wasn't just questioning their evidence. She was flat out exposing the cracks in their entire case. Candace made it crystal clear. Tyler Robinson swears he's innocent. He stood by his word from day one.
A ton of cameras on this campus. There is a lot of footage that they could release to make the public feel better about this. I mean, tons of different angles. I don't know why we're getting grainy shots at all. There have been tons of people online going through the tech stack of UVU campus and saying like, hey, why are we getting grainy? Why don't you give us clearer images? In fact, you guys could show us an image here, 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 here. They're not doing that. They're just going with this like grainy image and saying that's it, and you can get this grainy image, but we can't tell you much more. Now, again, it's an open investigation.
Saying he's never even stepped foot on the Utah Valley University campus. And here's the kicker. The school has no photos, no videos, nothing showing him anywhere near the scene. That's why, according to Candace, the FBI's only evidence is that same blurry, questionable image that even Tyler's own family says doesn't look like him at all. She emphasized Tyler has never shown a single sign of being suicidal, not once. and then dropped the hammer. The federal government is lying about everything except the fact that it's his gun. But Candace didn't stop there, not even close. She went harder, accusing the FBI of deliberately hiding key information about who the real shooter was and who that person might have been working with. According to her, the feds already know the truth, but they're keeping it buried to protect powerful people behind the scenes. And then came the bomb that had everyone's jaw on the floor. Candace claimed that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by someone within Turning Point, someone close, who allegedly leaked his location to a foreign intelligence network that wanted him gone. She said this wasn't just some random act, but a planned move connected to money, power, and global politics. What really made the internet explode was Candace's next claim, that just days before the shooting, Charlie had turned down a massive $150 million donation from a company she says had ties to the Israeli prime minister, according to her.
But I want to take the start of this show to address some of the things that have been going around on public, namely about a group text chain that has been made known and released by Candace Owens. And I just want to address it head on because, that was a screen grab that I had shared with people. So it is authentic. And I want to go into it because I actually am really excited that the truth is out there.
That money came with strings attached, meant to keep Charlie loyal to promoting Israel's political agenda. But Charlie, she said, had grown tired of being used as a mouthpiece, tired of selling narratives that didn't align with what he believed anymore. And rejecting that kind of money, it allegedly made him a problem, a very expensive problem, for people who didn't take no lightly. Candace's claims didn't just stir controversy. They blew the roof off. Social media went wild. People started digging, pulling up old interviews, campaign donation records, and leaked Turning Point memos, trying to figure out whether there was any truth to what she was saying. And what they found made everything even more suspicious. For starters, Candace pointed out that the so-called Foreign Intelligence Network wasn't just operating in the shadows. She suggested that there were direct links between certain Turning Point donors and international consulting firms that had quietly worked with the Israeli government. She posted screenshots of public filings and tax records showing charitable donations that didn't seem to match up with what Turning Point had reported in previous years. She said, "Follow the money. That's where the story is hiding." And people did. Before long, Reddit threads and Telegram channels were filled with timelines.
I had said that if they try to make the Charlie Kirk so-called assassin trial secretive, then you know for sure the official story is not true. This is bad. This is real bad. Even mainstream media is calling this one of the most secretive trials in history. The judge is making everything secret with gag orders, including the police reports and 3,000 witnesses, associates, or anyone that knew Charlie Kirk. They're saying effectively any talk show host that knew him or talked to him is under a gag order.
Donation chains and deep dives into every business and foundation connected to the organization. Some of the names being tossed around were massive. Think global consulting firms, weapons contractors, and political action committees with billions behind them. Suddenly, what had started as a tragic shooting had become a web of connections between politics, money, and power, and Candace was at the center of it all. Then she went even deeper, claiming that Charlie Kirk himself had started noticing strange things months before his death. She said he told close friends he was being followed and that his communications felt compromised. He had reportedly started keeping 2 separate phones and changed his travel routines at the last minute, sometimes without even telling his staff. According to Candace, that was when his relationship with Turning Point leadership began to fall apart. She said, Charlie wanted out, but they wouldn't let him walk away clean. According to her, he was in too deep, tied to too many powerful players who depended on his influence to shape public opinion among young conservatives. He had become a brand.
And if you look at these trans terrorists, it's really important to sort of get to the bottom of it, excavate exactly what happened. So there was some reports after Charlie Kirk's assassination that there was prior knowledge of what was going to happen, that there were people in chats talking about, hey, something really big is going to happen. Not just big happen, it's going to happen to Charlie Kirk tomorrow. Conspiracy, at least prior knowledge. People who knew that he was going to be shot.
One too valuable to lose. But the more he pushed back, the more tension built up behind the scenes. Candace claimed that insiders told her Charlie's sudden change of tone in his final weeks, the shift from patriotic talking points to deeper political skepticism, terrified the people funding him. Then came her boldest statement yet, that a private meeting took place just 3 days before the shooting between Charlie, a Turning Point executive, and a foreign liaison, representing an Israeli-based donor. The meeting, she said, didn't go well. Allegedly, Charlie refused to endorse a new fundraising campaign that tied directly into Israeli defense narratives. Candace says she was shown messages from Charlie's inner circle, suggesting he had told someone close to him, "They're not gonna like what I have to say next." The next morning, he reportedly canceled several appearances and told his assistant he needed a break from the circus. Less than 72 hours later, he was shot at the Utah Valley University event. The timing? Too precise for coincidence, Candace said. This wasn't random, she insisted. This was organized. And as soon as she started speaking out, boom! Her show disappeared, her social accounts went dark, and whispers started flying that she'd been taken in by the feds. Dave Chappelle's claim only added fuel to the fire. Fans started comparing her last post, where she said, "If anything happens to me..."
I went ahead this week and sent around a life insurance policy of sorts, a package rather, to people that I trust, a package filled with text messages, emails, private communications, videos, and private legal documents. So if anything happens to me, you guys will know exactly who it is that has been making my life a living hell. Where you look back and you go, man, Kanye was right. He was really saying something about what it takes to leave, to fight for custody of your own soul. Just leave me alone. Let me say what I believe and you say what you...
I left everything with people I trust, to what's happening now. Some think that message was her way of hinting she knew she was being watched and that she'd already set things up to protect herself if anything went down. Meanwhile, Turning Point's official statement didn't help their case. Instead of addressing the allegations head-on, they put out a vague press release about respecting the investigation process and asked the public to refrain from spreading misinformation. But the tone felt cold, robotic, and people noticed. The more they tried to quiet the noise, the louder the questions got. And here's where it really gets wild. Candace's team reportedly leaked that she had receipts. They claimed she'd been sitting on encrypted files containing communications between top Turning Point executives and foreign contacts. Files that could prove everything she'd been saying. One of her associates allegedly told independent journalists that Candace was planning to drop the evidence in a special broadcast before she vanished. If that's true, then someone didn't just silence her, they silenced her right before she was about to expose the truth. Fans have been digging through her Telegram and Twitter history, hunting for clues. Some users found posts she liked just hours before she went missing. Posts about foreign money and conservative media, and digital blackmail tactics. People think she was leaving a trail for someone to follow if she got taken out of the picture. Dave Chappelle's name popping into all this only made things crazier. He's never been afraid to speak on controversial topics, but even his fans were shocked he was the one revealing her supposed arrest. He reportedly said during a private show, "They didn't just arrest her for breaking a gag order, they arrested her because she was about to drop something they couldn't afford to have out there." And once that quote started circulating online, it spread like wildfire. Within 24 hours, #FreeCandace started trending. People demanded answers. Where was she? Why wasn't anyone from her team speaking publicly? Why hadn't the FBI confirmed or denied her arrest? The silence was deafening, and the more officials avoided the topic, the more people believed Dave's version of the story. By midweek, even mainstream outlets were being forced to acknowledge the situation. Some tried to frame it as a social media misunderstanding, while others hinted there might actually be an ongoing federal matter involving Candace's actions. Nobody was giving clear answers, just more confusion, more contradictions, and more mystery. But her followers weren't buying the official spin. They believe this is bigger than a gag order, that this is about power, control, and silencing voices that refuse to play along. And honestly, even skeptics are starting to admit something doesn't feel right. Candace's allies have hinted she might have sent backup files to journalists outside the US, maybe even to independent reporters in Europe. If those files ever surface, they could flip this entire story upside down. Until then, all anyone can do is wait and wonder if the truth she was about to expose will ever see the light of day. Because let's face it, this isn't just about one woman defying a gag order anymore. It's about what happens when someone digs too deep into secrets powerful people want buried. The question now is, how far are they willing to go to keep that truth from coming out? Things took a dark turn fast, because just weeks after all those warnings and secret messages, Charlie Kirk was shot, and suddenly, everything Candace had been saying started to sound a whole lot less like a theory and a whole lot more like a setup. Fans were connecting dots everywhere, and the math was mathing. Candace even dropped a screenshot that shook the internet, a private text exchange between Charlie and someone inside Turning Point America. At first, people thought the screenshot might have been fake, another wild rumor from the internet, until Josh Hammer, a verified Turning Point staffer, confirmed it was real. He admitted publicly that he was the one texting with Charlie in that conversation. The moment he said that, boom, the floodgates opened. People went digging through his old posts, interviews, and photos like detectives on a mission, and what they found left everyone speechless. Buried just a few scrolls down his timeline was something that sent chills across social media. An old tweet from Josh, posted barely 24 hours before Charlie was shot. It was a reply to a 12-year-old Donald Trump tweet that read, "Should be public execution for all to see. You will end this bullshit fast." And Josh's reply? Just two haunting words, public execution. The timing of that post, paired with the leaked texts showing Charlie's frustration over being pushed into a pro-Israel stance, had everyone's alarms going off. People started saying this wasn't just bad timing, this was too suspicious. Candace's claims suddenly didn't sound so far-fetched anymore. She had been insisting for weeks that someone inside Turning Point betrayed Charlie, maybe even leaked his movements. And now that theory had serious weight behind it. The internet erupted with theories that Charlie had been sold out to a foreign intelligence group that wanted him gone for refusing to play their political game. And after that tweet resurfaced, it wasn't just fans speculating anymore. Even former insiders started whispering that something inside Turning Point America had gone seriously wrong. Now here's where things take an even crazier twist. The alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson, is officially on trial, and people are calling it one of the most secretive trials in recent history. Reporters can't get inside, spectators are blocked out, and the few documents that have leaked are so heavily redacted, they might as well be blank pages. To make it even sketchier, the judge slapped a strict gag order on everyone involved. Lawyers, witnesses, even the families. Total silence, but Candace Owens, she wasn't having it. According to her, freedom of speech is a fundamental right, and the Charlie Kirk trial shouldn't be an exception. She basically said, you can't just hide the truth because it's inconvenient, and decided to speak out anyway, even if it meant putting herself at risk. But that's not even the wildest part, because right after saying that, Candace vanished. She hasn't been on air for nearly a week, and fans are losing their minds trying to figure out what's going on. Her last post before going completely silent sent shockwaves across social media. It read, "Don't worry about the gag order in the Charlie Kirk case. I plan to violate it on the world's behalf. The things I've discovered this past week are enough to burn the house down. Yes, Charlie was betrayed by everyone. That message hit hard, and people haven't stopped talking about it since. But of course, her bold stance came with backlash. The media's been dragging her nonstop for reckless reporting, claiming she's stirring chaos and spreading unverified information. Big names like Dinesh D'Souza even jumped into the mix, publicly calling her out for her private digging, saying it was doing more harm than good to the FBI's official investigation. He said, there's a difference between seeking truth and creating chaos, clearly throwing shade at Candace's approach. Still, her supporters weren't backing down. They saw what she was doing as real journalism, digging into what others were too scared to touch. But before anyone could even process the backlash, comedian Dave Chappelle dropped a bomb that flipped everything upside down again. During a live set, Dave allegedly said the FBI had arrested Candace Owens for breaking that same gag order she had sworn to defy. You could have heard a pin drop. People were stunned. According to Dave, the feds didn't just fine her or issue a warning. They went straight for the harshest option possible, jail time. He claimed Candace was facing serious charges and that the arrest wasn't about justice, but about silencing her completely. And that's where things got even wilder, because if Dave's telling the truth and Candace's sudden disappearance lines up with his claims, then what we're watching might not just be another political controversy. It could be a full-blown cover-up playing out in real time. Fans are demanding answers, the media's scrambling, And the silence from the FBI, that's only making everyone more suspicious. Now here's where things go from shocking to downright crazy. Multiple insider sources are claiming that Dave Chappelle truly believes this entire move against Candace Owens has serious backing from powerful people, including, allegedly, President Trump himself. Yep, that's right. According to these reports, Trump supposedly has a personal interest in the Charlie Kirk case since he actually knew Charlie and has been privately demanding justice for months. But that's where it gets tricky, because some are starting to wonder if this sudden push to hold Candace accountable is really about justice or something way deeper. Could this be a move to silence her for good? Because let's not forget, Candace has dropped major receipts, ones that point directly to possible foreign intelligence involvement in Charlie's shooting. And if that's true, it's the kind of info the FBI would never want out in the open, especially if it involves one of America's allies. So maybe, just maybe, this so-called arrest rumor isn't about law and order at all. Maybe it's about shutting her up before she blows the lid off something massive. But Candace isn't new to this game. She's been saying for weeks that she planned ahead. She claims she set up what she called a kill switch, a backup system that would automatically leak everything she's uncovered if anyone ever tried to silence, harm, or detain her. Think about that. If the feds really arrested her, then this kill switch might already be live, ready to drop files the moment something happens. Now here's where it gets even more intense. Insider chatter says Candace's kill switch could contain some massive info, files, messages, maybe even audio, tying certain government-connected figures back to that same foreign intelligence group she said was involved in Charlie's death. She's reportedly still been verifying the evidence, but sources claim what's in those files could shake the country. And honestly, this whole situation has spiraled into something straight out of a political thriller. Dave Chappelle exposing how the FBI allegedly wants Candace Owens arrested for interfering with their investigation had fans going wild. The comment sections online are exploding. Thousands of people posting messages like, "We need to pray for Candace's safety," and "The government's scared of what she's got." One viral comment said, "Whenever the government's involved, you already know. It's 99% nonsense and 1% truth." Another fan wrote, "I knew something was off from day one. Charlie didn't die by chance. He was betrayed by his own people." And one more added, "Why would anyone trust the same system that's been lying and poisoning its own citizens through food, media, and medicine for decades?" The internet's divided, but the energy is electric. On one side, people say Candace crossed the line and broke federal law. On the other, millions believe she's being silenced for exposing the truth. So what's really going on here? Is the FBI actually planning to arrest Candace Owens for interfering with their ongoing investigation? Or is there a much darker story playing out behind closed doors? Drop your thoughts down below. I want to hear what you think. And if you made it this far, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video so more people can see what's really happening. Don't forget to hit that bell so you never miss an update. And I'll catch you in the next one.